solemn, quiet introduction on this one today. Are we live? It says we're live. Let's just take a moment and recapture our thoughts. There we go. All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome to Caliber Corner episode number 121. And this evening, we're going to have a little Mosin Nagant chant. I was inspired to talk about the Mosin after picking one up at a local gun show for the low price of only $200. For a complete rifle. We'll talk about that when we get there. We're also going to discuss 40 Smith & Wesson. We haven't had a caliber spotlight for quite a while. And it's the often misunderstood, often bullied caliber that's out there compared to a lot of the other calibers that are out there. Some calibers are just understood to be anemic. Others are just nice and powerful. But the 40, it's just misunderstood, or so we think. So tonight, before we get started, something I want to announce here real quick. Patriot in the Dark is looking for, if you've ever seen his channel before over on YouTube, Patriot in the Dark has got some great videos. And check him out, but he is looking for somebody. He's trying to he's going to be working on a little project here. And he said that, and I quote, "I'm looking for anybody in the New Orleans area that is physically disabled or knows anyone that is disabled in the area. And if you are, or you know somebody that is, there's a little project that he would like to work on with you. You can contact him at patriotinthedark@gmail.com. He is on the Rick's Life as I See It Shooting with Disabilities chat, which they do every other week. It's a great show. Make sure you check it out. But again, it's a great way for us to kind of get together, those of us in the gun community, and work on a little project and come up with something really cool. So, okay, so a real quick reminder, tonight's episode is sponsored by SS Pond, Lexington, Nebraska. Why don't you guys give them a call? The contact information is at the bottom of this video in the description box. And it's just off Interstate 80 at Lexington, Nebraska, just right off to the right. When you take the exit, go north into town, stop in there, say hello to Stan, check out the guns. SS Pond will take care of your firearms needs. Okay, let's let the panel go ahead and introduce themselves and get a little plug in real quick, and we'll see what's going on. Over here, we've got the exclusive gun channel hosted by the Gun Snob. Gun Snob, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, man. I call you exclusive because you are the only person on YouTube that's got the awesome Altor glue gun pistol video out there. I want you guys all to check it out. How was that experience, man?
It was interesting.
Interesting. Okay. So if you have not seen the Altor pistol, it's a little single shot pistol.
50 round. Oh, I was just gonna say 50 rounds is a lot to shoot through that at one time.
Mm-hmm. Still feeling it, huh?
Yeah.
So what can people expect to find in your channel, or where can they find you? Do you have any shows that you host? What's going down, man?
Let's see. Saturday nights, normally I do a show 8-ish Central Time, 8-ish, sometimes 9-ish, sometimes 10-ish, you never know. And then, there's a bunch of gun reviews, bunch of SHOT Show videos up there right now. So if you don't like SHOT Show videos, stay away. If you do, go watch them. And then there's a brand new Altor pistol video just went up last night. So go check it out. If you don't know what it is, it's a nifty little glue gun looking thing that will fly out of your hands if you're not really, really holding on to it tight.
You know what you need to do with that Altor pistol? You know what it really, really needs? You know what would really make it stand out from what's out there? I want to see a ballistics gel test on it. Come on, man. You got to do it. Just load it up with some critical defense or some plus
speed. My
speed.
son keeps trying to get me to get some ballistic.
Yeah. Now, you got an excuse, man. A ballistics gel.
My son keeps wanting to get some ballistics.
That sucker does 13 inches of penetration through ballistics gel, man. I'm telling you, with a nice hollow point round, that could be the go-to. That could put a little angle foregrip on the front of that thing and just kind of rest your finger underneath of it. I'm telling you, you could do a lot with that thing. Leave some muzzle brake on there. I'm waiting for the accessories to come out for it.
Yeah, somebody told me I could have the market cornered on Kydex holsters for it if I just start making some holsters for it.
Dude, everybody's going to.
I was thinking maybe I had a few other comments about getting a barrel threaded.
Yeah, heck yeah, do that. Cerakote it.
Get the barrel threaded for it. Get a suppressor on it.
Get the Magpul bad lever for it on there. There's a lot you could do with that gun. I want to see the RDS cut. That's going to be sweet, man. They have a custom made. If you guys don't know what the Altor pistol is, it's a little single shot pistol where you take off the front of the barrel and you put the round in and twist the barrel on, and you have to turn it to make it live, and then what you essentially let go of a lever, and that causes it to fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how I thought.
It's molded so your finger slips off the trigger.
And you do the
It's
complete
molded so your
disassembly
finger slips
video.
off the trigger, and you have to be really careful when loading it.
So, like, I was going to ask you,
you have to be really careful loading it to.
So why is that? Why is that?
Well, it's tough not to flag yourself with it because the barrel's so short, and you just want to grab it by the end when you twist it on or anything. You got to make sure you're not.
It's like to wash it, you just toss in the dishwasher, throw it in with your
I'm
laundry.
going to try to. Well, yeah. Nah, I don't think you wash it. I think you just throw it in a mud hole and rinse it off. And
there you go. Yeah, just.
I think I'm going to leave and come back because we've got some sort of weird delay between me and you.
Okay. Well, it's just probably our personality.
I'm going to try to jump out and come back because I got a weird delay.
All right, that's fine. Well, we'll continue the intros anyway. So, all right, moving on. Kingpin in the house. Kingpin, what's new in your world, brother? How you doing?
Not too much, man. Thanks for having me. Always appreciate it. Love the Caliber Corner.
Hey, man, you've been here for a very long time. I appreciate you coming back every week and hanging out with us and stuff. You got anything fun coming up on your channel? You got a little video that you posted not too long ago.
Yeah, I put up the video on the Kimber. Hashtag Kimbers for Kingpin.
Ooh,
I took it to the range this weekend, and I guess it was about 10 yards. It was pretty good. It was about maybe a 50-cent piece size group I was putting.
Very nice.
So it shot really, really well. The slipperiness wasn't as big of a factor as I thought it was going to be, but I was also not in a carry situation. I was take my time at the range. So it shot really nice.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I did a video for that little plate that's got the stippling on it that you can put in between your grips. I did that video last summer. That little sucker I have, and I can't show it off on camera, unfortunately, but that thing, I have it on my SR 1911. It might look a little bit tacky, but it is very, very functional. So if you need if you need a little more grip on the front of it, I mean, that just plants it in your palm, man. It doesn't go anywhere. It is awesome.
The biggest problem I was having was the slide itself.
Okay.
It's really, really slippery.
Okay.
It like I said, at the range, taking your time and shooting, and only have to rack it, twice at the range.
Yeah.
Grabbing the rear serrations worked out just fine.
Okay. Cool, man. Cool. All right. And moving right along here. Let's see, Squib Load. Squib, what's going on, man?
Just looking for the mute button.
Mm-hmm. So what's new in your world, brother? How you doing?
The usual, at work, and just having fun making videos. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. Hey, when are we going to do a live stream of a little coffee talk, a little coffee discussion on, the coffees we've tried and our favorite coffees and coffee recommendations? You down for that or what?
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. We could even integrate maybe the Pop-Tart bracket in it. Thinking give that VR thing a couple more weeks and then maybe do a bracket or something. So, yeah, we could work out something.
So if you haven't seen it yet, you guys got to watch Squibload's video on Pop-Tarts. Which Pop-Tarts would you choose for the zombie apocalypse and why? And what backup flavor would you also choose? So do make sure you check out his video on that. It's pretty sweet. I did my VR reply to it. I had a blast with that. We should host that over on my B channel. It'd be kind of fun, man. Get people over there for once because I have nobody that even realizes I have a second channel. So.
Yeah, and I could just jump on one of my B channels instead of this too. So
we could. Yeah, it'd be kind of fun, man. So go check it out over there and over here, and when you're done, you can download it and we can upload it. You can do it on yours, and then I can upload it to mine, or vice versa. So that'd be cool, man. Yes, we definitely need to have a coffee talk. Check it out. Squib's got a brand new video on Dunkin' Donuts. What variety was it? I just watched it this afternoon. It was the Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, it's Krispy Kreme.
Or not Dunkin'. Yeah, it's the Krispy Kreme. Just the original, right?
Just the original classic. Yeah,
classic.
I didn't want the bold or whatever because it's a dark roast, and I don't like dark roast. And the other they had was a decaf. But in my research, I found out I can order online the glazed donut flavor. So I may order a bag of that and do a review on it and try it out. Maybe
the glazed donut flavored coffee is what I've had. I've had several of them. It has kind of a light, sweet aftertaste. It doesn't really taste like a donut. It can be a slightly rich flavor, kind of earthy, but then it's going to have almost like you put a little bit of sugar in it, some sweetener. That's what I mean. I think Walmart makes a glazed donut flavor, the Great Value. That's actually really good too. So yeah, it's not bad. I think you'll like it. So I didn't realize you weren't one that really enjoyed the dark bold ones. I thought you were more of a dark bold coffee drinker.
I'm a medium roast kind of guy. I don't.
Okay.
Any of the dark roasts I've had taste like burnt coffee. Yeah. Well, I can just leave the coffee in the pot for 7 hours and call it a dark roast, So
Your
It's
palate
an
will
acquired
develop.
taste.
Your palate will develop. Don't worry. It's going to happen, man. It's going to happen. You'll get there eventually. You'll just get all, because as you get older and we get closer to our demise, everything starts shutting down and dying, and the only real flavor you get out of stuff anymore is just dark coffee and dark chocolate and gunpowder, stuff like that. So, all right, man. Well, hey, anyway, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this off here and we'll get this set up.
Thank you.
Sorry, I don't know what else to say. At least you can enjoy it a little bit every day as you slip away, right? That's all I got to say. So.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, Snob, did we get a chance to finish up your intro? Are you cool?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks
All
for
right.
the invite. Do we have a lag again, or are we better now?
No, I think we're good. I think we're
all right.
good.
The lag was about to drive me insane a minute ago. I had to do something.
Well, I think the telegraph line between Oklahoma and Nebraska through Kansas is finally up and running now, so I think we're good.
Well, they may have had it all backed up with all the Kansas people being so happy their Chiefs won. Did you see
I know,
that?
isn't that crazy? Congratulations, Kansas, your Chiefs won. Well, I was wondering why Gizzard Gary was so. He must. I mean, that's what had everybody confused because he's in Kansas and he's a Chiefs fan. So
that's probably what it was. Trump probably watches Gizzard Gary, and he probably thinks, well, he's a Chiefs fan, so they have to be in Kansas.
Yep. And moving on to our last intro over here, we've got Rich White in the house. Rich, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Not too much. Next time we all get together somewhere and Squib's there, we got to make sure we have some chocolate-covered pretzels and hold him down and make him eat one. This man has never had a chocolate-covered pretzel before.
Oh, dude, they're so good. Like the almond bark ones, the older I get, the more I appreciate those.
I had a chocolate-covered pretzel. I don't like them.
Mm-hmm. Those slips, man. That you
White
just eat one or two and then just taking down the whole bag, basically.
Oh, you ought to try my son gets the Reese's ones.
Ooh.
Oh, he can't eat but just a few. They're so rich, but man, they're amazing.
Dude, those just sound awesome. They're made by Flips?
Yeah, I think so. They're in the same kind of bag.
Okay, I think a tabletop review is going to be due for us here. What we should do, Snob, is we need to do our breakfast sandwich live stream, and then we'll wash it down with some Reese's Flips.
Snob, it's not the Mountain Dew, okay? Take it from me. Based on what we've seen and heard, it's not the Mountain Dew, okay?
I haven't been eating any junk food lately either. You'll be proud of me. Ever since Vegas, I've been being all diety.
What happens in Vegas stays there.
I haven't even had a donut. I'm pretty sure I brought back a few pounds.
So real quick, just to answer Jacob S.'s question, did you get the Mosin from online or from a gun shop? The Mosin behind me I actually bought at Cabela's many years ago before I was even making gun videos. I paid $127 for it. It's a Hex, a 1935. It's immaculate. Has not been counterboard and has all of its bluing. It's my baby. I've shot it quite a bit, but I just don't really take it out so much anymore. But then the Mosin that I bought recently was at the Lancaster County Gun Show in Lincoln, Nebraska. It was $200 Mosin, man. I couldn't say no to that. So, and Rich, real quick, you got a little show that you do. When is that show?
It's usually Sunday nights at around 8 Easternish. Last night we didn't do one because Super Bowl. My son wanted to have some friends over, so didn't do the show last night. And then next Sunday, we're probably not going to be doing the show either because wife and I are going to be going to the Great American Outdoors Show this weekend coming up.
Cool.
So we're probably not going to be having a show this week coming up either. So it's going to be a 2-week layoff, folks, for that show. Sorry, but
yeah,
things happen. And when you're not home, it's kind of hard to do your live show.
No, I hear you, man. It's not easy when you're on the road. Yeah.
Or when you got a room full of teenagers to early 20-somethings in the room, it's kind of hard to do a live show then, too.
God, you get the high school and the college kids hanging out, huh? Dang, man.
Walmart,
what was I going to say? I guess I got to be the one depressing one here. I didn't watch the Super Bowl because I decided to have a little personal boycott since they wouldn't allow the Daniel Defense ad to play, but they let Bloomberg's ad play. I guess I didn't even see Bloomberg's ad played. I assumed he did. He spent $10 million on it. Did you guys watch the Bloomberg ad at all? Nobody said anything about it, but
it was full of crap. The Bloomberg ad was full of crap. They tried making it seem like this little kid was shot while walking down the street. The kid in the video was a 20-year-old that was going to that neighborhood to start a fight with somebody. If you actually look up the actual situation, this kid wasn't innocent, and he was shot by he was an innocent bystander, I guess, because he wasn't actually involved with the ones who were doing the shooting. But he wasn't innocent. In fact, the whole reason why he was in the neighborhood was because he was going to go start a fight with somebody.
Yeah, I mean, did you guys watch the Daniel Defense ad at all? Have you guys had a chance to watch it?
If you check out Coleon Noir's video on this, he plays both ads.
Basically, the
That's
Daniel
where I
Defense
saw
ad,
it.
it's got a guy coming home from work, and he gets his mail, and you can tell that he's a Marine veteran. He's got his pictures, some photos up on the counter, and he's going upstairs, and his wife's tending to their baby, and he hugs his wife and says, there's a little thing. He's talking in the background, talking about how he used tools to defend, the country, and how he wants to use, tools to defend his family. And then they show the outline of the M4 or whatever, and it says Daniel Defense. It's like defending your home, defending your country. And Daniel Defense even said that they would pull the outline of the M4 out of the ad and replace it with an American flag. And the NFL still said no because it promotes guns, because it promotes firearms, and you guys have beer ads. You don't think that kills people? You have, car ads. You don't think those end lives? I mean, it's ridiculous. So anyway, not to get on a soapbox about that. We're here to talk about Mosin's, but because they wouldn't air that ad, I decided to just go ahead and boycott. I didn't watch it, which sucks because I heard it was a really good Super Bowl. So I think I watched about 5 minutes of the halftime show, and I was like, nah. Just like watching MTV for 20 minutes. So, I mean, I understand that there's talented people that were on there and they put a lot of effort into it and stuff, but I'm just,
I could give you about 25 more reasons that no one on the planet should ever watch football ever again, but by next season, nobody will care.
Yeah, I just, I played in high school. I watched it quite a bit in college, and my old man's a big fan. My family's fans and stuff, but there's better things I'd rather spend my time on. So, anywho, so enough of that. Let's see who's joining in real quick. We got a lot of people out there. We've got a little, Weston, let's see, Mystic Guns is out there. Weston Probst is out there. Jason Stewart, Jacob S. A lot of people. Guy in the comments is out there too. Patriot in the Dark's out there. Patriot, we went ahead and made that announcement for you. If you want to put any details in the live chat, go right ahead, buddy. Kingpin's out there. Let's see, Patriot in the Dark joining in. Guy that comments is with us too. Rich White's in the house. Tacos and French fries. Southpaw's out there too. New York Outcast is out there. Duke Liberty. By the way, any of you guys that are chiming in, chatting and stuff, if you ever want to be on Caliber Corner, just shoot me an email at thecalibercorner@gmail.com, and I will get back with you on that. Blue Steel 44, Travis T. Kingpin's out there and over here. Mike's out there too. 10X Shooters is joining us. Trauma Jock's joining in too. Midnight Range TM. Keywords out there. Razor JB's joining us. DM Foss is out there too. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. And last thing, just real quick, I am still doing my little monthly Patreon drawings. So if you're a patron of mine, it's a $1 buy-in basically monthly to be a patron sponsor of mine. If you're a sponsor of mine, you're in the monthly drawing. And I gave away a really good package the other day. I did a video on it. This is probably my third or fourth monthly drawing. I think I started them back in October. And Obnoxious One is the person that won it. So Obnoxious One is getting a whole box full of goodies, and there's some stuff in there from SS Pawn, and I've got some other items I've thrown in there. I think it's going to be a good one. Finally got it in the mail today, so I didn't get a chance to get it out there, but Obnoxious One, it is heading your way. You should have the package on Thursday, so there we go. All right, so let's talk about Mosin Nagant for a little while here. Everybody has their own opinions about Mosin Nagant. Before I was part of gun channels, before I was making my own gun media, anything like that, I would watch videos on YouTube with the Mosin Nagant. I watched a lot of Iraqi veteran videos. Nothing Fancy did a great video. Love him or hate him, he did a great video on the Mosin Nagant back in the day. That kind of media is what brought me into kind of the gun culture and things like that. And I didn't get my first Mosin Nagant until about 6 or 7 years ago. I bought it at Cabela's. It's a 1935 hex receiver Tula that you see behind me. And I paid $127 for it. It's a really good deal. But I remember, you hear these stories about how Mosins were the $75, barrel guns that you'd go buy at gun shows and so on. But the thing is the prices on them keep going up. And if you're going to look for one, there's a lot of advice I think we can give you if you're shopping for one. Maybe give you some warnings against ways of purchasing them and so on and things like that, some things you need to know. Talk a little bit about collectability, talk a little bit about the ammo and stuff like that. So, Night Strike, real quick, let's let you go ahead and get a plug for your channel and just introduce yourself, and then we'll get into our Mosin Nagant discussion.
What, you mean the channel where we do hit or miss every Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock?
You know it, man. You know it, guys. Make sure you subscribe to Night Strike 1. What's that?
8 o'clock Central for all those Central people.
Tuesday nights?
Tuesday nights. But yeah.
Right.
Also, check out guntube.org.
There we go. And that's actually where we're hosting this too, and you guys can support guntube.org through Patreon. So there you go. Lots of good stuff. Nice Strike, do you have a Mosin?
I'm in the market for one.
Okay. So and here's the thing. I mean, there might be those of you that are buying them because you want to get them, maybe as a collector's item, because some of them are going up in value. I
should have gotten that one at Tulsa when we were there. But
okay.
I couldn't bring it home. I should have gotten that one that Matt got.
Prices at Tulsa were what, $279 to $300 or something like that? Is that right? for a complete rifle.
Yeah, but that was just the receiver and the bolt, and it was like $50, and I really should have gotten it.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, stocks and hardware and additional parts are going up in price too. I've been seeing that a lot on eBay lately. Stocks are running close to $100.
Yeah.
I remember I had a couple stocks that I sold that I couldn't even move.
That was an M44 though.
Ah, okay. Yeah, he's got
Type 53.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So general advice that I would give people, if you're looking for a Mosin, you've got many different options to purchase them. My opinion would be if you can source one at a local gun store, do, because you could probably negotiate for price a little bit better. Go to a gun show and look around for them, but you're going to expect to see what you'd find for online prices at the gun show. At least it was at every single table that I went to at the Lancaster County Gun Show. They're just the market prices, okay? If you order online, you can go through things like Gunbroker, or you can go through things like Classic Firearms, and I'm not against any of those methods, but with Classic, you're just getting basically a random pick. You don't really know, like, you're paying for a condition, you're paying for what's considered a hand pick, you're paying for a certain type or brand or era or year, you're paying more and more and more for it, but you don't have it in your hands until you get it. And it seems like the reviews on Classic Firearms website for the Mosins are, a lot of them are really good, and then there's some that are kind of average, and there's some that are really poor. I would say the longer you wait to buy one, whenever they get a batch of Mosins in, you're going to start to get more of the bottom of the barrel. So my advice to you initially would just be to buy one locally, go to a gun shop if you can get one, or if you can find one for sale online, get a lot of pictures of it, every single part of it before you do so. Because you might find yourself dropping $400 after transfer and shipping, and you get yourself a pitted out, broken stock, worn out rifle, So that's just the basics of where to even begin if you're looking for one, okay? If you belong to any local firearm groups online or any gun groups anywhere, and there's some buying and selling going on, there's a pretty good chance that somebody is going to have a Mosin in their collection. They might be willing to part with it, all right? You guys want to give any advice at all on looking for Mosins, or what do you guys think? Hey, Nice Strike, what route are you going for looking at Mosins? Like, are you going to Gunbroker? What do you think?
Well, I'm going to name some places. I looked. Sometimes I look at the same place I got my my SKS. I forget the name of it, but they sell a lot of different surplus rifles. I also look at the Classic Firearms. Mm-hmm. No, because believe it or not, sometimes they got good deals. Sometimes.
Oh yeah,
not all the time, not every time, but sometimes they have good deals. And then there's also the other place I look at is Center Fire Systems.
Okay. J&G sales will sometimes have them too.
J&G as well.
Classic, the ones that Classic has been getting in recently, they're ones from the Ukraine that are pinned, and you can remove the pin. They're pinned so that your iron sight on the rear doesn't go past 300 meters, and so it's because they had to make them legal for their civilian market. So we're getting those now. Those might have some sort of collectability to them at some point too, because there's going to be a limited number of those that are coming across. And believe it or not, when you start getting into rarity and stuff like that, the prices on these things really do go up. So you guys also on the panel that have Mosins, or what went into your purchase of them at all? So Gunsnob, you said you had one a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that much about it. Lord, it's been 15, 20 years. It was just cheap one day, and I was in the gun shop and bought it. And
okay. I mean, you didn't know to look if it was a sniper model, or
no, I didn't know anything about them then.
Yeah. Okay.
I still don't know anything about them. I just hear all of you guys talk about them because I'm just not a milsurp guy. That's not what I'm into. And it was just one of the things. It was cheap, and
yeah.
It was cheap, and they had a big old tin can of ammo for it for hardly anything more, and that's all I really remember. And then I traded it off or sold it at some point.
Yeah, we'll get into the ammo here just a little bit. There was some quick comments made over there. Metal Guy 852 says, I got a 9130 1923's the year hex receiver Izvek with a laminated stock. I call him Izzy, but in excellent condition. Any idea what it's worth? I paid $99 for it on Mother's Day sale, LOL. So at the gun show that I was at, the hex receiver Mosins were bringing between $375 and $400. Non-hex were bringing $300 to $350. Type 44s or your shorter models that have the attached bayonets to them were going for $375 on up. And I mean, they were more expensive than the SKSs that were there, believe it or not, from what I was seeing at the gun show. And I went after table after table after table before I found the one that I bought, which was $200. It was a 1942 round receiver, was not pitted, it was not rusted, it's mismatched numbers on it. We'll talk about the numbers and the serial numbers and all that fun stuff too. The stock was in great condition. It had not been counterbored yet. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. Kind of a complete little Mosin buyer's guide for you. And if you want to get into collecting them, so first of all, there's an awesome website that you need to go to. It's just a simple, looks like a Web 1.0 website. It's 7.62x54r.net. Okay, so 762 by 54r.net. If you go there, that is the complete, just like wonderful database of all things Mosin. They get into the history of the Nagant. They discuss all the various different models. They have an identification guide you can use to figure out which model you have. You can find out if it's something special, if it isn't. There's lots of links to find out if the Mosin is a legit sniper or not. They have an awesome page on the website, and I'll try to get a link over to you guys here in a little bit in the chat. The website has all the different countries that produce Mosin Nagants, all the different varieties of them, and they have just kind of a bit of a rating system that's based off of current market price, local gun store prices for the authors of the page, like the classic firearms price, the gun broker price, and they give it like a rarity of a 1 to 10. And I think that the ones were more rare than the 10s, if I'm not mistaken. And they can say the lower the number, expect to pay a higher price. So once you get away from just a bread and butter, 9130 model, but Metal Guy, to answer your question, that hex would probably be between 375 and 400, believe it or not, from what I'm seeing. But anyway, when you start to get into what's called like the Finnish FINNISH, the Finnish recovery guns, what would be the specific title for them, guys? The ones that were Finnish capture guns, or you start to get into the American production Mosins, because for a short time they were actually manufactured in the U.S. too, or you start to get into sniper models, you're looking at paying 3 to 4 times more than you would for just a basic 9130 model, right? And so you can expect to pay $600-800 for some of these Finnish capture models now. And I'm not trying to push the prices up. If you go online, this is what you're seeing everywhere, right? Sniper models are going anywhere between, I'm seeing anywhere between basically $1,000 if it has a scope, and even then you got to check and see if it's a legit scope or not. $1,200, $1,400 for a sniper model. And the sniper models weren't necessarily rare because a lot of the guns were made into sniper models, right? Hey guys, real quick, we got Fuzz joining us. Fuzz, what's going on, Fuzz? Oh, that'd be Foos. Foos, what's going on, man? How you doing?
No.
Fuzzy
Fuzz
Foos?
is right. Fuzz is right. He certainly has fuzz on him.
Fuzz. So Foos, why don't you give us a little introduction to yourself real quick, and then let's just come join in this little round circle on the Mosin that we're having here.
All right. Hi, my name's Fuzz. I'm a gun addict.
Fuzz.
I love I guess the history of firearms and how I'm a computer programmer, so I like to figure out how many different ways you could do the same thing, and firearms is the same way. How many different ways can you keep an action closed while firing? That's a passion of mine for history, but as far as the shooting sports, I'm an avid USPSA shooter. So,
all right, man. And are you an owner of a Mosin Nagant?
Yeah, I have an M44 and a Type 53.
Okay, so why don't you talk about those a little bit and tell us how they compare to your bread and butter 9130s with the full-length barrel?
So a 9130 is a 29-inch barrel. The M44s are 20-inch barrels with a side-folding, permanently mounted bayonet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about it. And
value on the shorter models on those carbines, I guess you could say, are up. They're they're typically higher, a little bit of a premium. Yeah.
A lot bigger fireball.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the surplus stuff, you're talking about at least basketball, maybe even beach ball size fireball.
Yeah. A little bit about the price. Expect to pay more for numbers matching. And you got to watch out when we say numbers matching, because some of these had what's called forced numbers matching, where they would use an electro pencil to stencil in like a serial number on some of the parts that might not have a number on them, or they would cross out numbers and electro pen a number on there. If you have true stamped serial numbers on the parts, the receiver, I believe there might even be serial numbers stock on the stock, if I'm not mistaken, but the butt stock, your lower, okay, where your magazine well is. There's also a serial number underneath there. On top of the receiver, the barrel. If it's totally numbers matching all the way around, you can expect to pay a premium. You're probably looking at this point at probably around $350 for a non-hex, kind of a later production. Just again, I keep saying bread and butter Mosin. We're talking like a non-exclusive model, nothing that's nothing too far out of the ordinary with a clean stock, right? So you're probably looking around $350. What I saw at the gun show was between, like I said, between 300 and 400, depending on if you wanted, the carbine, or if you wanted the full length model, if you wanted something a little more exclusive, the condition. But the one that I bought for 200, I mean, the price was fair for what I got. Now let's talk about the counter boring, okay? Because that's kind of a big deal when you're looking for a Mosin. It may say that these have been counter bored. It might say these have not been counter bored. Counter boring is essentially when the gun would go back to the arsenal, they would re-drill, retap the rifling in the barrel, and it's good because it would make the gun more accurate again. Okay, in my opinion, that's what it would do. It kind of changes the tolerances and the specs a little bit of the inside of the barrel, but it would make it more of a viable shooter. If you get one that's not counterbored, there's a chance that your grooves and lands, your spiraling inside your rifling could be worn down heavily, and that could really affect the accuracy. So on one end, a non-counterbored rifle could have a little more value to it because it hasn't been modified. It maybe is a little more rare. Maybe it was kept more for like a civilian guard defense use and not like a frontline battle rifle. One that has been counterbored, it could be more accurate, but also may have a little bit less value to it. So, I mean, you never know. This one is not. Neither one of the two Mosins that I bought were counterbored, which is funny because they had gone back to Arsenal for refinishing. So they must have determined at that point at the Arsenal that the rifling inside the barrel was not shot out and that it was, in fact, okay, and it did not have to be counterbored. So do you guys want to comment on that at all? Counterboring? Any ideas, any thoughts on that at all? Or hopefully I kind of covered it in a little bit of detail. I don't know. We're good? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So again, when you look up value, these are just things that you can look for when you get it. Just initial things to look for. Does it have a broken stock? Look for any kind of pitting or rusting around the receiver, around the bolt area. Check the bolt itself when you take it out. All you got to do is flip up the bolt, pull back, pull the trigger, and the bolt comes right out. Look inside the receiver, see if there's any pitting or any rusting in there. And the reason why I say so is because your older surplus ammo, the stuff that comes in the spam cans, right? The old production ammo was corrosive primers, if I'm not mistaken. And if the gun wasn't cleaned quick enough after it was used in battle or taken to a range or whatever, you would start to get some pitting or some rusting around the receiver area, and it could be permanent. It could etch itself into the metal. I'm not going to say it's necessarily going to make the gun unsafe to shoot. It just makes it look a little bit unsightly. It could affect value just a little bit. Yeah, it is essentially rust. Yeah.
I mean, as well as, and I'm glad you said spam can with the old surplus, because you can't get spam cans right now of new stuff, but it's just not.
Yeah, Tula makes. I mean, you can get. I bought some Wolf for the rifle that I bought at the gun show the other day. I bought some Wolf ammo for it. You can usually buy Tula at your local Walmart. Most of your sporting goods stores carries Tula steel case, which runs fine. You can tend to find the extraction to get a little bit sticky or tough as the gun starts to heat up a little bit. There was a comment made over there in the side chat. I think the Hex ones were better. I don't know if they're necessarily better. I think they hold more of a resale value, but I think quality-wise, I mean, when you get into the round receivers and stuff and you start to get closer to the 1940s, you're going to start to see some definite roughness to the guns overall because they were spitting them out as fast as they could to get them on the front line so the Germans could fight the Nazis.
The Hex are older.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. The Hex are older. You could have good Hexes, you could have bad Hexes, you could have good round, bad round. It's just that. And before 41, a round is machined pretty decent. I mean, I'm not going to say beautifully, but pretty decent. But you start getting into wartime production, and that's when tool markings, stuff like that happen. Tools should have been replaced before they actually were. But hey, we need Ivan with a rifle because he's out there with his a pitchfork.
Oh, you can tell a difference. My 35, it's just smooth and it's been polished and everything looks finished and it just is just beautiful. And then the 42 that I have, the bluing is basically gone, but you can see all the machine marks and tooling and swirls and stuff. I mean, it's got a beautiful, basically battle-worn patina to it. But I got a friend that's got a 43 and the thing looks like it just came right out of the mold. I mean, it just looks like, you can definitely tell, and it runs and fires just fine. But I mean, you can definitely tell that they were in a hurry to get them out. There's little things like the little clips in the for your sling that are going to be missing from the later models because they didn't want to take the time to put them in. You might find triggers that are a little bit rougher and so on. Somebody made a comment over on the YouTube side. What was it? Let's see. Following the proof marks to figure out who used it when is a little fun research project. Yeah, that 762x54r.net website. They have a complete page on proof markings. You can look up the page and see where it was used and who it was issued to, and essentially, where it was produced and all that fun stuff. Let's see. Jason Stewart says pre-1940 models are made a little bit better. Somebody made a comment saying, who was that? New York Outcast? Was that you? Somebody said if you have a bayonet attached to your Mosin, that'd be considered illegal. Is that correct? I don't know if I missed that one. There's a comment that showed up a little bit earlier in the chat over there.
Where?
Could be in some states.
It says, Jacob S. says if Indiana guns...
States, not mine.
Okay, if Indiana's gun control bill were to pass, then guns like the Mosin that have bayonets attached to the end would be against the law. Well, on the regular models, on your 9130s, you don't have to attach the bayonet. You can leave it off, but your carbines that have your bayonets attached to it, that could cause an issue.
Just having the bayonet lug on some rifles in Maryland makes them illegal. They loosened it. They loosened the standards for a little while ago on like the ARs, because the ARs I have bayonet lugs on them. But I think it was like maybe 6 years ago, your ARs couldn't even have the lug on it, bayonet or not. If it had the lug, it was an assault weapon.
Even if you bought it beforehand?
Well, they had it like that for forever here in Maryland since I guess the '94 ban. They just extended it out, and then maybe 5 years ago they loosened some of the restrictions on the features for the ARs.
Okay. Another quick trick if you're at the gun show. First of all, if you're at the gun show, you do want to ask the vendor to clip the action so you can open it and look down the barrel. They should be able to shine a light down the barrel for you. Take a little gun light with you or take a little pen light with you and do look down the barrel before you buy it. If they won't do that, pass on it. You don't want to take a chance of getting one that's got a warped and pitted barrel or has a barrel that's shot out or is completely smooth bore inside. And here you spent $350 on something that you can basically shell for parts at that point. That's something to take into consideration. Yeah.
You don't even have to do that because, if you take a light, you could blind yourself with the light. What I just take is my cell phone and open it and shine it on the bolt.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yep. That'll work too. Yep. So you've got a couple options here. Make sure you do that if you go to pick one of these out. With the counterboring, an easy way to tell if the gun's been counterbored or not is if you have a round with you. If you stick the bullet in the end of the barrel and it has not been counterbored, the bullet will stop about halfway or 3/4 of the way up in the barrel. And if it has been counterbored, apparently it will go all the way down to the case. So that's another way that you can tell if the barrel's been counterbored out. I was watching some videos the other day on how to tell if it has been or hasn't been if you don't have a way to visually inspect it. So that's something you can do also. I don't know if they'll let you put live ammo down the barrel, down the front of it, but shouldn't make any difference. Now let's talk about the sniper models real quick, because that's the one that everybody always wants is the sniper model. Basically, when the sniper models were selected, and I say selected because from what I've seen and what I've researched and what I've learned, they weren't built. The sniper model was like the best firing gun out of the lot, and that sniper model was then selected and had an optic mounted to it, and that's what was issued to the platoon sniper or whatever division the Russians had. And I think the Russians had more snipers in their platoons and units than a lot of other armies did at that point, and so you tend to get more snipers that are out there. It's not like there was just one for every 500. Okay, there's essentially several snipers in each unit. An easy way to tell if you have an X sniper rifle, when you open up the bolt, you can look down the inside of the receiver on the inside of the chamber, and if you've got a couple of holes there that have been filled, some circles that have been filled, and you can see the machining and the marking, that'd be one way to tell that you might possibly have a sniper. And there's other specific markings and stampings on the gun itself that you can look for, but I'm going to leave you guys up to that to do your own research, because everybody's going to be looking for the kind of Mosin that they're going to want. Some of you might want a capture rifle, some of you might want an American-made one. Yeah.
So these screws, Like if you have it up to your shoulder, it's going to be on the right side of the receiver, not on the very top. If it's on the very top, it's been bubbled, and I wouldn't.
No, you'd be able to tell because then the scope was also offset to the left the way that it was mounted. Now, if you get when somebody's selling what they say is an authentic sniper, you need to do research also into the optics itself because there's a lot of modern production optics that look like the original Mosin scope, like the PU scope.
Yeah, PU scope. Yeah, there's a Chinese copy of it out there.
And what's the deal with the PU scope? The difference is that the entire reticle and crosshairs will physically move. That's how you can tell that you have a vintage scope because on modern rifles, the crosshairs will move, but the lens will stay in one place. It's a really crazy system that they used for sighting them in and for changing your windage and so on. But I mean, if somebody's looking at selling a sniper, you really, really need to do your research on the numbers on it. And there's a chance that the serial number on the scope isn't going to match the mount. And I don't know if they put the serial number for the scope on the rifle itself. I've never really looked into a sniper model. I know 5 or 10 years ago, you probably would have had better luck finding an authentic sniper because that's before prices on them really started to go up. I remember seeing the snipers for $600 or $700 thinking that was crazy. Now a sniper model is, $1,200 if you can find one. And there's no guarantee it's going to be authentic. So, you really want to ask for a lot of pictures and a lot of photos. You really need to do your homework before you buy one. Now, if you just want a Mosin just for the simple joy of shooting, the reason why I bought the Mosin that I bought at the Lincoln Gun Show was just to have a shooter because I hate putting the rounds through my hex over here because I want to keep this as pristine as I can because it's just a beautiful gun. I want to be alive when this thing turns 100 in 15 years. I think it's in 1935 is what I said, or 29, one of the two. So, I want to keep this in as good a shape as possible. So the other one that I bought is going to be my shooter, my play around gun. I'll be showing it off on my channel a little bit later on. Now, the other thing you need to look into, guys on the panel, do you want to comment at all? Anything about the Mosins? Yeah.
That's the reason I went and picked up my Chinese type 53s because my M44 Mosin was made in 45, so it was a fairly early production of those, and I wanted to keep it pristine. So.
And, like I said, if you can get one for $200 and it looks like it's in good shape, just parts alone, you'd make that money back if you had to part out and sell it if it turns out it wasn't a good rifle or doesn't run. But that's the nice thing about the parts. You can get spare parts for the Mosins. It's not an issue. Just about every part can be. There's even aftermarket triggers that are out there for it. As simple and as crude as they are, they do work well for what they are. The other thing to remember is if you get it, go ahead.
Well, that's what Never Enough did. He bought a barreled action and then built the rest of it himself.
Don't remind me.
Because it took you in your hands, right? He pulled the foos on it. You got foos, didn't you?
No. Actually, I pointed it out to him at the gun show. I said, I found a Mosin receiver with a bolt for like $50. And he's like, no, you're lying. Show me. And I showed him. It's right there. He goes, why don't you get it? You found it. Go get it. And I'm like, I can't take it back on the plane with me. I don't have the money, man. And he's like, no, get it. And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, then I'm getting it. And then he made that rifle. And that rifle he's got in the background, every freaking video, it's that damn rifle.
And it's in the ATI stock, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's ATI or if that's
I think there's a few companies that make stocks for it. There's only like 4 or 5, other than getting into the custom made stocks like Boyd's or whatever, or Etsy or whatever. And that's the other thing too. If you want to get one that you want to bubba up, do your research on it. Make sure it's not a certain lineage or a certain model before you start to tear into it. If you want to Cerakote it, or you want to like tap and drill and put an optic on it, or turn it into like a scout rifle, or cut down the barrel, just really do your research on it before you go and hack it up, because it might be worth it. And there's nothing wrong if you want to sporterize it. There's nothing. That'd be awesome. I had the ATI stock on one of my other Mosins that I built. That I bought and sold many years ago. And man, I'll tell you what, that ATI stock, it has a Monte Carlo style stock. It really reduces the recoil because it's got a thick rubber butt pad on the back. So it's amazing how much more you can shoot that thing. It's actually fairly comfortable. It feels like a 308 when you're rocking it. But the barrel sticks off the end like an extra, it looks like an Elmer Fudd gun. The thing just looks like a giant elephant gun, It's already like 36 inches long,
Well, you have to think these barrels are 29 inches long. Nowadays, a 20-inch barrel, and people are like, that's kind of long there. But, back then, you also have to think, whenever these were developed, like Dragoons and stuff, the militaries were still shoulder to shoulder, 3 ranks deep, firing over each other's firing over the rank in front of them. So that's why a lot of these rifles had to be long, so that you could have the back line standing up could put a rifle out and not potentially blow off one of the comrades' head.
Yeah.
So So you have to think of when these rifles were made and developed. So that's kind of cool too.
So real quick, there's a comment that came up here. Travis T said, make sure new buyers get the field tool to set the firing pin depth. That's another thing too. All right. So you want to watch some videos on the bolt before when you take it apart and clean it, you might have to deal with some cosmoline, and we'll talk about cleaning that off here in a little bit. You definitely want to disassemble and clean the bolt if you're not comfortable doing that. Take it to a gunsmith. So here's the thing. These things were set from the arsenal. There's going to be probably a little hash mark on the back of the bolt where there's a screw and there's like a little slash drawn through it, and that's going to line up with the screw. And basically, when that bolt was reassembled so that the firing pin would come out to the proper depth when it would strike, these were set, and there's like a little pencil mark that was cut into the back of the bolt. And that's where you want to set it when you reassemble the gun. You're going to want that screw basically flush with the back of the bolt, and that little line is going to go straight down. Now, what you want to do is you want to get yourself a Mosin kind of officer's tool set, and you can get these. You want to watch out, make sure they're legit surplus, make sure they're not aftermarket. They're going to have all kinds of little stamps and markings in them. And I think I got this for like $15 off of eBay, but it's a legit tool set. And this is your little firing pin depth tool, okay? And so what you do is you put this over the bolt face where your firing pin is, and when you twist the back, your firing pin is going to come out. You want your firing pin to be in this little middle notch right here. You're going to set this over the bolt head, and if it goes off to the right and touches, it's going to be coming out too far. If it goes over to the left, I believe it's going to be too short. You basically want it to touch right in the middle. You're going to want to watch a video on that just to confirm it. But this is essentially how you use it. I haven't done it for a while because I haven't taken mine apart and cleaned it for years, but that's what I use to make sure that the firing pin. So basically, you'll be able to adjust the amount of depth the firing pin has when it comes out and strikes. And that's what you adjust with that little screw on the back as you're reassembling the bolt. You need to be careful because if you have too much depth, you're going to rupture your primer and you're going to have some problems. So you want to get yourself at least an authentic bolt firing pin tool. This is actually made by, it's stamped either Tula or Izzy. I'm not sure 100%. It's got the little triangle with the arrow in it. So you want to definitely get one of these. And it also has like a jag for cleaning out the barrel. And this goes on your cleaning rod, the little set that comes with it. This is a cap for your barrel, if I'm not mistaken. So you can cap the barrel while you're transporting it and so on. And then this is one of your little cleaning tools that you use to pull your cleaning rod out. So you can get these little tool sets on eBay, but you want to make sure that they're authentic because there are knockoffs out there. And if this part's not proper, if this is not a proper tool, if it's not an actual Russian issue tool, you might be setting yourself up for a little bit of a problem when you reassemble that bolt. So, and plus that bolt's probably going to have some cosmoline in it or some old oil or some grease. Make sure that you get yourself the authentic tool set so that you can properly disassemble it and reassemble it.
So that cap you were talking about, is it the one with the hole in the end of it?
Yeah.
So what that is made for is to put over the end of your muzzle, and that hole is for your cleaning rod, so you don't
scratch the barrel.
Yeah, scratch the end of your muzzle and hurt your crown.
Okay. And see, I use a bore snake through my barrel. I got a 30 caliber bore snake that I run through it. So, so that explains how that works. And then this guy, what's this guy for again? This one right here.
That is to screw onto the end of your cleaning rod, and you put a patch around it.
Okay. Yep. And then you got this guy right here too.
Yeah, same concept.
Okay. Yeah, the main thing is that you check that firearm. And I'm just saying, if you get one of these, man, because you don't know if the person before you disassembled it and reassembled it properly, if they paid attention to what they were doing. Obviously, if you're going to buy, guns like that. Foos, what do you think about checking headspace? Do you really need to worry about something like that on a Mosin?
I wouldn't.
Don't worry about it. I mean, you don't really ever hear about any issues with those or these going boom necessarily, but that first shot, you might want to maybe set it on the bench and have a string hooked up to the trigger so you pull back on it, make sure it's not going to not have any issues. That's what I'm going to do when I take mine out, the other one that I just bought. First shot that I take with it. But, I mean, they can be a lot of fun, but again, price-wise, if you can find a nice one for $200, $250 and you don't have one, that's great. But if you want it as a hunting rifle, they have what's called minute-to-man accuracy for a reason. I mean, you'd be lucky if you can get a 3 or 4 inch group with good ammo. with a good shot. I mean, they're just not that you can't hunt with them. You can, but I mean, you're not going to get the accuracy out of them that you're going to get with a modern hunting rifle.
So I've taken 3 deer with my Chinese one.
How far out were you when you took the shots?
First 2 were about 75 to 80. The last one was about 220.
Oh wow. Okay.
Open sights. So
you just got yourself saw point ammo and just went with it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean
that was out of the Chinese one. So
and there's no lack of ammo options out there. If you go to any online ammo stores, you can find a lot of different options. I ordered a couple boxes of Wolf from SG Ammo. I don't know what the grain weight is off the top of my head. It's just Full Metal Jacket. If you have an indoor range, $1.50. What's that?
I'd say $1.50.
Yeah, I think it's just Wolf Classic or whatever. Indoor ranges, you might have some issues. I don't know if they make lead bullets. Aren't they all just steel core bullets? From what Foos, the ammo on that? I've seen metal, but yeah.
So PPU makes a good soft point.
Okay,
and it is full lead projectile brass case. So if you
your soft point should be okay if you want to shoot it indoors. You're going to be paying about $1 a round for it, but yeah.
Well, if it's your steel case stuff, that's still bimetal. So
yeah, but can you use that indoor range though?
A lot of them don't like it because if that spark goes and there's unburnt powder down there, yeah,
you're gonna have to be careful with that, especially if you have one of those carbines, one of the shorter models. So don't expect to really be able to use it in your indoor range unless you've got the proper ammunition for it. If you do get yourself some surplus ammo, great. It's relatively inexpensive, but you need to make sure that I've seen spray out the inside of the receiver, spray down your bolt, your inside of your receiver with Windex, and then wipe it off and then oil it. That's going to neutralize any of those acids that are in the primer or whatever causes the corrosion. No, it's not acids. It's it is basic. It's a base material that causes the corrosion, right?
No, what it is, it's a salt that is in the primer.
The salts, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Okay.
And of course, it keeps moisture away, but actually keeps the primer there intact, so over long storage. But if you don't want to do the whole Windex thing, well, if you do the Windex thing, you still need to run it out with water to get all that Windex and stuff out. But just straight water will break down that salt and carry it away. Okay.
And I'd imagine that when the soldiers were out there in Russia shooting these things, that they didn't have bottles and spray cans of Windex with them that you could use,
Right.
Let's see. Claude Mulligan says, I use PPU at the bullet hole in Omaha. Okay, so that's good to know. Okay, they were fine with it, and mine's a 20-inch sporter. Okay, good. Blue Steel says, is the Nebraska 2A really under attack? The guns and gadgets guy must have to take tranquilizers. He's always under attack. Yeah, we've got some bills that are being proposed. We've got some red flag bills that they're pushing out there, and then also kind of an assault weapons ban too. And Sandhill Shooter's actually working really hard with a few groups to get a rally lined up for Nebraska. Man, if we go, there's no more hope for anybody because they're going after the heartland at that point, which I thought was pretty much impenetrable to the anti-gun people. But not to change the topic, but anyway, just looking at the comments that are coming out there. So again, back to the Mosin's price. It just depends, right? I mean, like I said, I happened to find mine for $200. Got lucky on it. Wasn't really able to haggle on it, but that's fine. Online, if you get one, it's like a treasure hunt. You never know what you're going to find if you order one online.
Yeah, a good source is pawn shops. I picked up the M53 I have, dated 1954. It's actually dated December of 1954. $250 out the door for it.
Oh yeah.
And I think you've seen it. I think, haven't you?
Yeah. You showed off. I think a couple of videos ago we talked about it, but maybe even showed off while we could still show guns and videos. But
you've seen the condition that thing needs, and I only paid $250 for it. So. But pawn shops are great for mill service. Not just Mosin's, but they've gotten Mausers in at that pawn shop, and they weren't charging a whole lot. I'm talking German, not like Chilean or anything. That they had actual German Mauser in there for like $400.
Oh, wow!
So check your pawn shops, guys. Honestly,
hey,
walk through your local pawn shop, and you might walk out with one hell of a find.
Hey, those Chilean Mausers are German. They were made in Germany or then.
Okay.
By the way, Travis.
Yo.
And the prices of Mosin's continues to skyrocket.
They do continue to rise. They really do. They really do. So, like I said, if you wonder why the prices on some of them are going to be high, some people are just going to charge, full market price for them and so on. Other people, there's going to be a certain vintage to it, a certain country manufacturer. If you could ever get yourself a hold of an American-made Mosin, I think, what was it, Remington and maybe Westinghouse made them. There were a couple companies that made them for a contract that never actually got fulfilled. With the Russians, they ended up becoming American training rifles and ended up in a few other countries and stuff. So that's,
They made them for Russia, and then the Bolshevik Revolution happened, and the Bolsheviks refused to take in stock, and they were stuck here with them, and they had to do something with them. So CDN
had a flash sale on them, and oh yeah. All right, so yeah. Anything else on the Mosins you guys want to add? Anything else you need to know? Ammo, it's still fairly available. You can get it online. It's going to be the same price as a lot of your other, 30 caliber rounds. You might be looking at maybe $10 a box for steel case. If you buy in bulk, obviously you save money. As you start to go up in a brass case and so on, it starts to cost more. Unfortunately, Hornady doesn't make the ammo anymore, but they make the bullets. Yeah.
So I've seen I think SG ammo. Last time I looked, you could get it as little as like mid-20s to upper. I mean, mid-20s to low 30s per round if you buy 1,000 at a time.
Okay. I did just order from SG Ammo last week. I got the 2 rounds of Wolf, and I think I paid $12 for shipping, but my rationale is, okay, if I got to take my Jeep and drive to Cabela's and back, got to go 80 miles round trip, take the time, it's going to cost me $12 to get there and get back, So, I might as well just go ahead and order online. I think I paid, God, what was it? $9.95 a box or something for a Wolf Classic. I mean, it was a really fair price, and it's the bimetal bullet. So yeah, I mean, it was decent for what it was.
But one good thing about buying online to help justify the price, buy more.
Yeah, as soon as I know if this stuff will cycle, then I'll turn around. I'll usually do one order initially to see how well it runs through the gun. I'm kind of doing that with 300 Blackout right now too. And if it runs well through the guns, then turn around and buy in bulk, because you are going to save money if you do that. The spam cans, what's a 440 round spam can cost these days? Like 80, 90?
No, they're up into 150-ish.
Okay, that's what they were when I first started looking. I remember seeing them for $75 for the old surplus ammo.
So whenever I bought all mine, I think I paid $120 for an entire crate.
Like the pallet, the two cans with the can opener? Yeah.
I think I still have almost 3,000 rounds of that stuff sitting upstairs.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and those are going up in value too. The ammo is definitely going up. So, cool, man. Cool. All right. Anything else you guys want to add on hunting for a Mosin? Anything you need to know? I think we covered about everything right now. Condition of the stock, the gun itself, the vintage, the year. Again, like I said, you could do a whole master's course study in firearms on the Mosin alone, just with the number of variants that were produced in the countries and the years of production and the options and stuff. It's pretty amazing.
Well, back in the day, Mosins were the basically go-to rifle for anybody wanting to be a gunsmith, because they were really cheap, really plentiful, and you could do a lot. Get a lot of skills.
And I guess we could talk about real quick about aftermarket stock options. ATI makes the Monte Carlo stock. They make one in black and they make one in brown, just polymer. There's the Archangel conversion, where it'll basically turn it into almost like a precision rifle stock with a box magazine. There are some companies that make some magazine extensions that'll bolt in that'll give you like a 30-round magazine. Now, there's a lot of options out there for them that you can get. Yeah,
I've seen 10. Oh wait, Did Never Enough ever shoot that one that I think it was a 20-rounder?
Is that what he put on his? He put that adapter on his?
I can't remember. I know he had it. I don't know if he ever put it on there.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's like an ATI adapter for it that you can get that has like a 20-round box magazine you can put on it. I've seen some larger ones too. So, also for stocks over on Etsy, there's a guy that does hand-carved stocks, and he does like an SVD style stock for the Mosin, and I think it's $120 depending on the wood that you want, and then they go up from there depending on what type of wood you want for it. So I mean, that's actually just as good of a deal as what it costs to go buy yourself just a used stock anymore that's not broken.
I was going to say something.
There's some pretty cool ones out there too. So yeah. All right. All right, guys, no further discussion on the Mosin. Anything else on that? Any questions at all? I'm not really seeing much coming out in the chat over there. Guy that comments says, do any 308s come with iron sights like Mosins? I don't know. You guys want to answer that one?
Yeah. Ishapur.
Oh, yeah. Your Enfield 308 Ishapur retrofit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm not talking about the retro. I mean, there are retrofit ones out there, but in the 50s and 60s, they went ahead and made it was a Mark I style, but made for 308 because they had a shitload of nickel.
Well, yeah, I meant to say I had an Ishapur 308. That was one of the earliest surplus guns that I bought. I think I paid $99 for it, and like an idiot, I got rid of it. Numbers matching, and I was seeing those. Those were at the gun show too. Those were around $400 if you wanted one. Now, on that, is that going to fire 308 and 7.62 by 51 or not?
Yes.
You can go either or. Okay. Yes. I couldn't remember if it was designed to handle both. I mean, they're beasts, man.
It's designed for 7.26 or 7.62 by 51, but it has been proven that all of them can take 308 no problem. Yeah.
Duke Liberty says, what's better, to full-length barrel or carbine? I'd say carbines have a higher resale value on them. They look kind of cool. They're neat. They're shorter. But then you've got your full-length barrel model, which is going to have a little bit less of a muzzle flash to it. I think the carbines are cooler. But, I mean, it depends on what you're talking about,
Something about the carbines that I think is the people that really don't think about is they'll fit inside your safe where the full ones won't. Because a lot of safes have that upper rack that only goes up so high, and the full-length Mosins are too long and won't fit in your safe.
Yeah, I can't recommend this as a truck gun. I mean, there's better things you can get that are not,
it's longer than your cab.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I have trouble finding cases to transport this thing in when I go. I've got a 4-foot gun stock from Cabela's, the Mosin edition gun stock, right? And you pull that over and you can use it to safely transport and stuff to prevent it from getting nicked and stuff. But if you have to have a lockable case, you're really gonna have to look around for it. Oh, one thing that's funny about the one that I bought at the gun show for $200, the guy gave me a bayonet with it. It's not a numbers matching bayonet, but he ended up giving me one of the original 1891 bayonets, which I think is worth almost as much as the gun. It's one of the first series bayonets that doesn't have the little spring-loaded clip on it. It has a little ring with a screw that you use to tighten it when you mount it. And so, I was looking that up, and those are selling for over $100, just that bayonet alone. Otherwise, a regular Mosin bayonet's like $25 to $40 on eBay. Unfortunately, I don't have it with me because it's at the other residence, but I left it there because I was going to take it to the range. But
Foose, you can get an affordable American-made fire-resistant safe that you can put a full-size Mosin in. I've got 5 of them in a row in one of my safes, and it's not a problem. It's not the longest gun in there.
Okay. I know that in the safes I have that the top shelf gets in the way. So.
Yeah, you can get some that they've got the cutout. You've got some you can remove the top shelf, and you got some with the top shelf tall enough. So when you're shopping around for a safe, especially like if it's your first safe and you don't have a Mosin yet, but you think you want to get one, just go online, get the specs, find out what the longest length is, or just you could even. What I do is, if I'm thinking ahead, I'm thinking what sort of reproduction musket am I going to get, because those are long. And will I be able to fit this in the safe? Now, it does kind of suck, though, because safes, when they give their capacity, I've never had a safe be able to fit capacity. It always fits less than what they say. But you can find some that one or two people can move around. It's got a removable door. It's got some fire resistance built into it. It's not entirely fireproof. American-made, affordable. Affordable, I bought a safe instead of a gun this time. That's affordable to me. That you can fit full-size Mosins in.
Cool.
Tim Esk says that there's no better truck gun than a 10.5-inch 300 blackout, AR pistol or an SBR. I agree totally, man. I've got a second upper coming here, which maybe I'll talk about that in a second here in a little bit. Claude Mulligan says get a shotgun case. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah.
Only if that upper is in 40 Smith and Wesson.
All right, and speaking of which, I think we're going to shift topics now. We're going to move on over to our caliber spotlight, which is the 40 Smith & Wesson, one of the few calibers we have not talked about yet, an often misunderstood caliber. I think it's easy to bully up on it and pick up on it and pick on it, But 40 Smith & Wesson actually has a lot of potential, still does have a lot of potential, right, as a viable firearm, and there's lots of good deals out there on it. Anything you guys want to say about 40 Smith before I dump into the history on it? Any comments on 40? Yeah.
I can describe 40 Smith & Wesson in one word. Why?
Ooh. Okay, all right.
Wait. This is why.
Oh, here we go.
5-gallon buckets.
Yeah, but I mean, you might say that could be 9mm.
This is why.
Oh, wait, you want 9mm? Okay.
Right here.
Oh,
No,
man,
this is why right here.
Just start hustling the.
40
All right.
So,
So yeah, so check this out, guys. Rich is showing off. Rich, put that back up in the camera. This is why you consider 40 Smith, all right? So we're looking at 135 grain Powerball round, and we're looking at 1325 foot-pounds of velocity. I'm sorry, 1325 feet per second energy or velocity. Energy 526 foot-pounds of energy, which is just a shade below or just above 357 SIG, right? So it's not all the anemic round that you think it is. I mean, I think the 40 Smith & Wesson in a handgun is a fantastic buy, especially if you can get a surplus gun or you can get a trade-in. Or
I've got 2 handguns in 40 Smith & Wesson. You know this.
There you go.
It's okay. Why is because 9mm and 45 already existed. Why?
Because 40 does what 9 doesn't, and 40 gives you more capacity than 45 on average?
Debatable.
Oh, yeah, you could. I mean, there's going to be 45s that have higher capacity than some 40s. And
I've got a handgun in 40.
Because I can fit 21 rounds. It's because I can fit 21 rounds in one of these.
Well, I mean, if you need 21. But the thing is, I bought a handgun in 40 just to try it out. Okay, what's the great thing about it? And I've got a pistol caliber carbine that I can convert to 40 if I want to. I'm not saying it's a bad idea to get, but it's just why?
Because you're going to get a pretty stout round, and like I said, if you can pick up one of these police trading guns for $250, $299, you get yourself a Smith & Wesson MP or a Glock or even a SIG. I mean, you'll have yourself a very nice handgun. It's great for home defense. It's got certain capabilities to it, and 40 is the only thing on the shelf anytime we have a gun scare anyway, so it's a good idea to invest in a 40. That's the only ammo you can buy next to like 44 mag anytime we have an ammo scare, right? Seen it twice now. Rich, what do you want to say about the 40? You're just like, let me sink into this one.
Well, I do want to say that the stats on here are conservative. I have personally seen this chronoed at up to 1,400 or a little over 1,400 feet per second, which puts it right up there with 357 SIG, and it's 10 grains heavier. 357
SIG, another why?
Why?
Because it works with one shot. That's why.
Why? Because one shot is all you need.
I think it's proven itself heavily because it gives you the power of 357 Magnum and a semi-automatic pistol with more capacity. That's why.
That's exactly what 357 SIG's for, and this round does the exact same thing. Gives you.
I'm seeing the division here. I'm seeing the division.
Well, not division.
All right, so real quick, I just want to get into just the short history of the 40 Smith & Wesson round if you're kind of curious what the argument is about and so on. So here's the quick little history on 40 Smith & Wesson. This will just take a couple minutes, all right? It's a rimless pistol cartridge developed jointly by major American firearms manufacturers Smith & Wesson and Winchester. 40 Smith & Wesson was developed from the ground up as a law enforcement cartridge designed to duplicate performance of the FBI reduced velocity 10mm auto cartridge, which could be retrofitted into medium-sized, i.e. 9mm sized semi-automatic handguns. It uses a 10mm bullet ranging in weight from 105 to 200 grains. It says, in the aftermath of the 1986 FBI Miami shootout, in which 2 special agents were killed and 5 wounded, the FBI started the process of testing 9x19 and 45 ACP ammo in preparation to replace its standard issue revolver with a semi-automatic pistol. The semi-automatic pistol offered 2 advantages over the revolver: increased ammunition capacity and increased ease of reloading during a gunfight. So FBI was satisfied with the performance of 38 Special Plus P 158 grain lead semi-wad cutter hollow point cartridges based on decades of dependable performance. Ammunition for the new semi-automatic pistol had to deliver terminal performance equal or superior to the 38 Special FBI load. The FBI developed a series of practically oriented tests involving 8 test events they believed reasonably represented the kinds of situations that FBI agents commonly encountered in shooting incidents. Okay, last part. During tests of the 9x19 and 45 ACP, FBI training units decided to include tests of the 10mm auto cartridge, and John Hall supplied his own Colt Delta Elite 10mm semi-automatic and personally hand-loaded ammunition. The FBI's test revealed that 170 to 100 grain, 80 grain, jacketed hollow point 10mm bullet propelled between 900 and 1,000 feet per second achieved desirable terminal performance without the heavy recoil associated with conventional 10mm ammunition. Again, it goes on a little bit. During the collaboration, FBI and Smith Wesson realized that downsizing the 10mm full power to meet the FBI's medium velocity specification meant less powder and more airspace in the case. They found that by removing the airspace, they could shorten the 10mm case enough to fit within their medium frame 9mm handguns, and thus eventually the 40 Smith & Wesson was born. Okay, it uses a small pistol primer, whereas 10mm cartridges use the large pistol primer. Now, looking at energy on average, we've got a 115 grain Corbon round is going to run 1,400 feet per second with 500 foot-pounds of energy. 165 grain Federal is going to run 1,130 with 468s. 135 grain Underwood is 1,400 feet per second with 588 foot-pounds of energy. It goes on and on and on. Essentially, we can nitpick and argue and go back and forth and say, well, what's the point? Because you can get this caliber and this load and it equals the 40, or you can get this caliber and this load. I'm just thinking from a gun owner perspective, you can get these fantastic deals on police trade-in 40s. I've seen some wonderful deals on SIGs and Glocks and Smiths. Ammo's a little more expensive than the 9mm, but you're going to be getting a very stout round that's going to work in a self-defense situation. Not that 9 isn't going to work. Not that 45 is not going to work. But to me, I like the idea that I can get a $300 Glock that might have been used a little bit that is going to take 40. It's going to work if I need it to.
Again, if you buy in bulk, the price is negligible.
Yeah. So Squib, tell me the arguments against the 40. You say why? Well, to me, it's capacity, it's power. I don't know. I guess to me, that's it. I'd like to have 14 or 15 rounds of, 40 Smith Spear Gold Dots on tap in my self-defense gun if I need to use it to defend my home versus, say, a 9 or a 45. And I own all 3 calibers, all right? I'm just going to say right now.
I don't own anything in 45.
Okay. So again, you seem to get, there's always seems to be a lot of hate for the 40, but it's like if you really look at the loads that are available for it, you can get some pretty decent performing rounds. They're going to be second, say, to 357 SIG or more powerful rounds like 10mm, 10mm auto. Let's see, Honda. What's that?
It depends on what you want to do with it too. Like for me, I'm a sports shooter. For me to play in a certain division, I have to have a certain caliber to be competitive. That's why I have a 40.
Now, could you use 9 in the classes that you compete in, or is it 40 on up?
No, like I'm starting to shoot in a class called Limited this winter, just to play around somewhere else. And could I shoot a 9mm? Absolutely. Can I be competitive in it? Nope, because scoring is different. So you're forced to use a 40 because the scoring rules.
Okay.
So that's why I have one. That's why I'm loading pretty deep into it.
Mm-hmm. Ammo prices, okay, they start to get close to other calibers like 357 SIG or a higher performance 45 round. It does get a little more expensive than 9mm. You might be looking at $15 a box for range ammo instead of $9.99 or $8.99.
I paid $13.99 for this.
Okay, so for 20 rounds, and that's a very stout round. That right there is going to do the job if you needed to. Yeah.
So I have a box of Federal here, 165 grain. Out the door was like $16 for a box of 50.
Okay. Your critical defense tends to run about $1 a round, regardless of caliber, up to say 44 mag. Generally it's $20-$25 for a box of critical defense, which is what I used to keep in my. I had a Stoger Cougar in 40, which was the Turkish-made version of the Beretta Cougar. Great gun, awesome gun. I don't necessarily find it to be snappy. Rich, what were you saying on that? If you go with a smaller grain round, you're not going to notice the snappiness on it. What were we talking about earlier before the chat started?
Yeah, I've shot this, and I've shot 165 grain, and I've shot 180 grain. This round here does not feel as snappy as what the 165 or 180 grain rounds do.
That controllability factor, I think, might also be another part of why 40 seems to get a, they're like, well, if you're going to get that kind of recoil and snappiness, just go with the 45 or just go with the more potent round, or
it's not snappy.
It's going to depend on the gun. It's going to depend on the shooter. I never had issues controlling it. All the 40s I've tested on my channel. One of the best guns I ever shot on the channel was a Ruger SR40. I mean, that accuracy-wise, that thing was great, man. I mean, it was comfortable to shoot. Yeah, it had a little more kick than the 9mm, but it was totally comfortable,
My favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite pistol I own is in 40.
So, Snot, where do you think all the
CHP
hate comes from? Where's all the hate come from on the 40 cal? What do you think? Where's it stem from? Is it the fact that 40 is just not really pushed out there so much? It's not really advertised heavily. It's not maybe featured much on gun videos. You don't really see a lot of new 40 cal videos out there in gun media,
I used to carry 40 when I worked at the police department and stuff. That's all I carried forever was a Glock 22, and I had a SD 40 before that. And I've still got a 22, and I still got a MMP in 40, but I don't ever shoot them, ever. But I did get the CHP gun, and I love this thing. I don't know where the hate comes from.
The CHP one?
Yeah, the California Highway Patrol.
CHP gun.
LEO. Yeah.
I got you, okay.
Yeah, the Surgeon Smith 406
I got you.
TSW.
Okay, yeah.
That's my favorite gun ever to shoot. I love that gun. It's a sweet shooter. And that 40 is tame in that thing. Of course, I got a 5906, and it's really tame. The 9 is.
Most 40 is tame.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get the snappiness factor from 40 myself.
I never have either. I've seen some people that do, though.
I mean, going from the 135 grain up to the 165, 180 grain, you feel a little bit more recoil, but I don't get the whole, 40's too snappy. I never got that myself.
It depends on the gun. Is it an all metal frame? Is it polymer? Is it polymer metal? Is it what's? I mean, there's a lot of factors that determine the kind of the snappiness of the round.
All my 40s are polymer. I have a Shield in 40. I have the 2.0 compact in 40, and I have the USP in 40. None of them feel overly snappy. The Shield feels the same as what my buddy's 9mm Shield does. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't get the people that complain about it being overly snappy. I really don't get it.
Well, you probably grip a pistol properly then.
Okay, guys, so we got a question from Raw Feeding 101. So here's the deal. Raw Feeding 101 is going to be looking for a rifle, and he wants us to run this one through the panel. If you're going to get one rifle, and it's going to be your first rifle, what kind and what caliber? Raw Feeding 101, do you want us to specify a dollar amount? Do you want us to go, say, like $500 on less? Why don't you go and chime in real quick before we run it around, because you might get some exotic, options. So Raw Feeding, how much are we talking here? What do you want to spend? All right. Let's see if
what's he doing with said rifle?
Yeah, I guess just to have one around. I guess you just want one. Are we talking you want something for like a home defense standpoint that you can also hunt with, or something you can take and do some sport shooting with, or varmint hunting? I have a feeling
it's going to be most of them, because his next comment down said that he was a business owner with a very limited budget, so he's only going to be able to get one. He can't buy 1, 2, 3, 5 rifles a year. It's like going to be it.
Yeah. And I'm just starting to sit here and think, for the money, what? I guess we can include, any kind of carbine in that too.
Question to answer.
Okay, all right, Squib, you start it up. Let's do this, so we don't have to go around in circles debating it. Go ahead, man.
5.56 AR-15 done.
That's my answer too.
It's the Swiss Army knife. It's going to cover a lot of bases. And he said first rifle. He didn't say first rifle for hunting, first rifle for home. He said first rifle. If he doesn't have any background with marksmanship on a rifle, that's one of the best ones to start on.
Okay.
Agreed.
Travis, I'm going to chime in and add on to saying by PSA AR-15.
Okay.
Agreed.
I mean, I'm biased towards Bear Creek, but I like PSA. I've got plenty of PSA lowers.
I know you are. I know you are. But I've seen PSA at better deals than Bear Creek.
They do. They do. Their lowers are cheaper, but the uppers are cheaper at Bear Creek also. But again, you can debate. What it doesn't
half
matter.
and half if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's what I do. I've got mostly PSA lowers because the pistol lowers are well, for one thing, Bear Creek doesn't offer. You see very few pistol lowers, but yeah,
half of my rifles are full PSA builds, and the other half are Anderson and AR and PSA builds. So
yeah. So just going off of this, you can get yourself a complete. Well, let's keep running around the horn. So Squib, you said just 5.56 AR, right? Kingpin, AR-15, 5.56, right? Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Rich, what would you say?
I got a few different choices, but it would be up to the person which one they would want out of them. I would say AR-15, but I would go 300 Blackout because it's more versatile.
Okay.
Or an AK, if you could find one, especially like with PSA, all the new ones that they're going to be bringing out this year. You'll have
I'm seeing $499, $550 AKs from PSA. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. They're bringing out not just new models, but they're bringing out different calibers as well. They're planning on doing a 5.45. They're doing the 7.62. They're doing a 5.56. I mean, they're doing all kinds of different calibers in their AKs. And if you got the money to do it, the AK-20 from that Arsenal's going to be bringing in, that's going to be around probably a $2,000 rifle. Probably they didn't say what the MSRP is, but that thing is going to be the first fully free-floated AK ever put on the market. So that's going to be probably the most accurate AK that's been made so far.
Yeah.
So I'm going to agree with the whole 5.56 AR, and usually I would say AK, but his only rifle, and there's a cost thing. You could still take that AR, and if you want a 300 Blackout down the road, you could buy $300-$400 upper. You could get a 9mm upper and shoot it. Swap out the mag to where it's a 9mm mag, but in the same size as the 5.56 mag, so you get your practice in using 9mm and be cheaper, and then still run your 5.56 whenever you so choose. So definitely the AR, just because of the
flexibility,
adult Lego blocks.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, now you look around, you can't get yourself into an AR. Depends what you want to say complete. Are we talking with sights and a magazine? Are we talking in front of you, ready to go? I'd say you could get yourself completely set up for $400, $450 with a mag, and so you got to get iron sights or a carry handle. You can get complete rifles. I mean, it just depends what you consider complete, right? Because magazine, you're talking $10 or $15. Flip up sights, you can get a nice set like these guys. These are UTG low profiles. These are $50 for a set. These are great. You can get Magpul flip up M-bus sights if you have a flat top receiver, upper receiver. You can get those for $50 sometimes at PSA when they're on sale. I mean, you really watch the deals on them. Bear Creek had a deal on their side charging uppers. I've got a 7.5 inch 300 Blackout side charging upper coming. I paid $159 delivered for it. It was $20 off and free shipping. So I got that for $159. I got a complete pistol upper coming. Gunsnob, what would you say about a nice kind of, just if you're only going to get one rifle and say you got a $500 or less budget, what would you do?
Well, he said he just wants one to familiarize himself to rifles and to get used to rifles. And I'm going to stay away from any semi-automatic rifle. I'm going to go with just a simple bolt action Savage Axis, something cheap, just something fun to learn on, or a Mossberg Patriot, just something like that. I love my Ruger Americans, but they're a little more. But take an old $400 and get you an Axis on sale and a decent optic, and have some fun. Learn how to shoot it.
Even better yet, get an old Winchester 94.
Well, I love a Winchester 94, but you're rough finding them under $500.
Get a garbage rod.
Let's not rule out. You can get yourself a Mosin, Let's not rule out a 30-30. I mean, if you don't mind buying it.
336 is it? 336. You can get a Marlin 336. I'm anti Marlin because top eject is the only eject the lever action should have, but they're great guns.
Yeah, you can get pre-Freedom Group 336s, pre-move Marlins for around $400 to $500 if you look around. I think I was seeing them at Walmart, $399 for a modern 336 CS.
Yeah, I think you can find them for like $359 online.
Yeah. So E Honda's in the house. E Honda, what would you use if you're just going to get one rifle? So you got a $500 budget. You want to learn some marksmanship with it. You want it for home defense. You want it maybe for some hunting applications or varmint. You want a good all-around Swiss Army rifle. What are you going to get?
Well, when you guys were talking about it, I was thinking how funny it is how that answer's changed over the years, right? Because if you go back far enough, it was probably an SKS, and then eventually it was probably a Mini 14, and then after that it was probably a Mosin, and then an AK. But today, with the market the way it is right now, with the way that manufacturers have flooded and just driven down the price of AR-15s to the point where they're the cheapest they've ever been in the history of anything. So right now, if you don't have an AR-15, especially for a first rifle, I would say 223-556 AR-15. Go get yourself a Poverty Pony and get a Palmetto upper and get a little red dot for it and take it out and have some fun.
Poverty Pony, garbage rods. I like this naming system you guys are coming up with here, right?
Honda, those answers that you were giving out initially from the past, those answers are all based on price.
Right.
And he didn't necessarily say that he didn't have a lot of money. Now,
he said tight budget.
He did say budget.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go as cheap as you want and as expensive as you want with this. But yeah, you can buy a cheap, I call them ghetto ARs, and then you can trick it out later as you learn what you like and you don't like. You get this thing and you go, this stock is uncomfortable. I'll try another stock. These sights suck. I'll try another set. This handguard, all right. What kind of sling do I want? The modularity of it not only makes it easy to take apart and clean, but also makes it easy to repair and customize. And yeah, I agree with Foos too that you get the 5.56 upper or you get the 5.56 gun, and then later you want to say, I want a 300 blackout. All you got to do is get an upper, and you're done.
Yeah,
you're done.
So if you do with what Squib's saying, and you do all this modularity stuff, soon you'll have almost another rifle to build a second rifle.
Yeah, you could take your stuff and build another rifle, or say you put something on there and you don't like it. It's nothing to probably sell it or trade it to another gun buddy or put it up on something, and you're not going to get all your money back, but or trade it towards something else or hold on to it. We've all got a box of miscellaneous AR-15 parts left over.
Here's the thing that everyone does though that I think is a mistake with their first rifle is they're like, this will be my one gun for everything.
No,
and then you buy more.
No, but an AR-15 and 5.56
and red dots and
no, an AR-15 and 5.56 covers.
I'm going to say this
off a lot of things on the list.
He said he's a small business owner, and it's going to look better on him if he has an AR-15 or a rifle like that than trying to pull out an AK to defend his business.
I'm not saying the rifle does everything or does everything well, but it crosses off a lot of criteria on the list of things that you would want a rifle for. And for a first rifle, to me, that implies you're learning how to clean with it. You're learning how to take it apart. You're learning marksmanship. You're learning everything that you want to learn about a rifle. And it is a fantastic platform to learn all of that on. All of it.
One gun to rule them all.
So I got a couple suggestions here I'd throw out there.
No, that's not what I said.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
So kind of go along with that overall theme.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you do get, let's say you do get an AR-15, shoot it the way it is. Don't start hanging all this other crap off of it.
Don't mall ninja that AR. Don't ever do that. Don't
ever do that with that scope on that one on the left.
No.
Vortex strike fire too.
But the thing is how many do you have? A lot. Was that your first one? Most likely not. Where this guy is saying, hey, guy or gal, didn't catch the name. There's going to be the first rifle. Learn how to shoot it. If you want to put a red dot on it, fine. Irons, fine. But don't start hanging everything off of it. Learn how to run it, because if you look at people that actually run guns, if they start to put stuff on it, that stuff starts coming off pretty quick.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to take into consideration that you guys have a different perspective. You guys know so much about every single part of every gun that's ever existed that you think about this kind of stuff. Where for me, I sat down with a stock AR-15 Ruger and love every drop of it. Every gun that I buy, I don't modify them. I love them just how they are. But I'm also not nearly as sophisticated when it comes to, the intricacies of firearms as you guys are.
Of course. I mean, I know more than Yankee, so I mean,
not saying
sorry.
It's easy.
He would argue that.
What I'm trying to say
awesome.
is the average everyday guy can grab an average everyday rifle and really, really enjoy it just the way it is.
Absolutely.
Few suggestions from the chat over there. I was seeing the High Point carbine out of the box. They're there's nothing wrong with those. Get them in 40 or 45 or 10 millimeter. I'm seeing the 10 millimeters on Gunbroker for $240. That's a heck of a deal on a 10 millimeter carbine. There's also somebody just said get a Ruger 1022. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm thinking maybe you might want something with a little bit more terminal ballistics on it if you actually have to use it for self-defense.
Well, he's using it for. He's got a handgun he uses for self-defense. The rifle's just clearly for.
Okay. So the 1022 would be fine too if you want to really play around, or you get yourself an M&P in 22 if you want to start training on the AR platform, but you don't want to invest in the 223 round. Think about the 300 Blackout real quick. 300 Blackout, a little more recoil than you're going to get on 5.56, and it is more expensive. It is a pricier round. If you buy it in bulk, you can save, but I mean, 300 Blackout can be expensive. And unfortunately, a lot of the local gun stores that I go to that have 300 Blackout, it's hard to get the American Eagle stuff that was like $12 a box. Walmart doesn't carry it anymore. Online, I'm pretty much buying 300 Blackout online anymore. And if you really want to get used to shooting the gun and practicing with it, it's going to be an investment, especially if you're on a tight budget. If you can reload it, great. But 300 Blackout is a pricey round to shoot, in my opinion, compared to 7.62 by 39 or 5.56. A few suggestions I would make: Marlin 336, 30-30. Okay, you're looking at $400 for that. Just an AR-15 is fine. If you want a basic AR-15, you can put your red dot on it, flip up iron sights, or carry handle. Yeah.
What about a lever gun in 357?
Yeah. What, the Rossies? Honda, isn't that what you have?
Yeah, it's a good gun. I wouldn't say for my only rifle though. I would want that. I mean, it's a good gun though. But
how much?
I got that on a deal for $600. So not exactly cheap either.
Well, they can get expensive, But yeah, if you just want a basic Marlin, but again, so somebody suggested the High Point, the Ruger 1022, basic AR-15. I would just go along with what everybody else says. Just get yourself a nice entry level, bread and butter AR, simple AR, and learn how to use it and shoot it. And
ammo's cheap.
Yeah.
If you want to buy the steel case stuff, shoot it. Don't worry about the quote unquote brass, and just run it. If you're worried about your extractor, buy a couple extractors, figure out, look up online, figure out how to swap them, and then swap it after every like 10,000 rounds. And you'll more than make up your money.
And then get in our circles. We all have AR-15, so we can all send you parts if you need stuff.
I would say it almost might be worth it to have one lower and two different uppers too. Eventually, that one up like a close quarters kind of situation, red dot, and then do another one with like a 3 to 9 or 4 to 12 scope on it or something like that. And you just switch them out, 2 pins. It's like easy to do. It's like having another gun, and all you got to spend is, and especially like some of the deals they have, man. Like you go to what is it, Davidson Defense, Delta Team Tactical. You can build an entire gun minus the lower there for like $250. So yeah, dude, like seriously, it's the way to go.
Yeah, Carrie's guns, I know sometimes they'll have where you get a 5.56 and a 300 Blackout upper.
Oh yeah, if you get the 2 package deal, or if you want to get another upper, especially with the 300 Blackout, you just swap out your upper, and then you can use 5.56 mags if you want to, or you can get 300 Blackout mags if you want also, and you've got an inexpensive caliber swap. You can go to a nice stout 30 caliber round, or stick with your 5.56 223. Yeah.
If you decide to do the 2 upper with 5.56 and 300 Blackout, make sure your magazines are completely different, because you don't want to accidentally stick a 300 Blackout into a 5.56 chamber.
Or just band them. Those bands are really cheap.
Yeah. Or a buddy of mine, he uses green for 300 Blackout and black for 5.56.
So I just want to show this to you guys real quick on this, guys. This is the Magpul 300 Blackout magazine. Okay, Magpul does make them. They don't cost much more than the regular 5.56 mags. This is a 5.56 mag, so you can see the differences. The texture is different here. It's marked 300 BLK on the bottom. They have a different colored follower. You can't tell. This one's a black follower, and these are green. Okay. They also have a heavier spring in them, so they can push up a heavier round, and they're less likely to stall while they're going up and delay. So there is a difference between them. You're not just buying into a gimmick. Magpul does make legit different, and they have a different cutout also for running like your subsonic rounds. So they feed a little bit differently. They're hollowed out a little bit more. So there are differences between them. But yeah, if you just grab the mag, you're not paying attention. At least with this, because I'm bouncing between 300 Blackout and 5.56 a lot here on my channel and stuff. And so that's why I do invest the money in the Magpul 300 Blackout magazines, okay?
I'm just a poor. I just use a white paint.
What it looks like.
What's that?
I've got a video on what it looks like if you chamber a 300 Blackout and a 5.56 upper and pull the trigger.
It's not pretty.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention, you just grab it. Yeah.
I saw like a photo of one that they took a bandsaw to and cut the length, like the barrel lengthwise, and you could see like the 300 Blackout stretched out because it squeezed into the 223 barrel, but it didn't make it out. So it was like I don't know, elongated. 6 inches long or something.
Yeah. Last thing here, real quick, we do have a question from the chat over there. Patrick Pew says 270 Winchester only good for deer hunting, or are there other positives of the round? Well, 270 is the go-to for many Nebraskans. I can tell you that right now. That's fantastic for a lot of your medium to large sized game. It's a great round. You know, you hear some people say that it can burn the barrel out a little bit prematurely just because of the sheer velocity of the round itself. You get that a little bit at 243 also. 270, guys, I mean, I know it primarily as a medium to large game round. Any thoughts on 270 at all? I mean, you can get ARs chambered in if you want to. But
I mean, that was the rider, or that was the round of the great rider Jack O'Connor. So how can you go wrong? That's one of my favorite rifle rounds I own. Shot it my whole life.
Can you use it to hunt asses?
You can hunt anything you want with that thing.
I mean, donkeys?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, ISIS. Oh, dude, 270 will make a mess of anything at a long distance, dude. It's not. It's
270 is probably one of the greatest all around rounds for North America game. In all truthfulness, it'll hunt anything from elk to coyotes.
Effective range. What do you guys think on that one? Are we talking? I mean, are we talking enough energy to drop something out to 500 yards?
Oh Lord,
or more?
I've dropped a coyote at like 650.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't really looked at the
the
ballistic performance of it. I know 243 you can really stretch it out there too. So yeah,
270, 900 easy.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably not ethical for large game at that, but varmint? Any day.
Yeah. So Patrick, keep it around, man. It's a very flexible round that's going to serve whatever purpose you need it to. I mean, again, so I'm not saying self-defense for inside the home, but I'm just saying if you had to defend your land, defend your property, so you got an acreage or something, your 270 is going to lay down some serious. I
mean, well, if you need a 270, or if you want to use a 270 as a home defense, you have a huge effing house.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, like I said, I've seen there's a company that I don't know if it's Gorilla or somebody makes it's Gorilla Arms or something. They make a 270 AR-15 that you can get.
Yeah, they're real cheap too. I looked at one.
What's it, 3,500?
Yeah, something like that. It was ridiculous.
2,800?
I was like, I'll keep my bolt action.
I have nothing but the highest respect for 243, 270. So hopefully, Patrick Pew that answered your questions. I wasn't sure what specific.
All these people that are crazy about 6.5 really just need to go back and look at a 270.
Ooh, shots fired! Shots fired.
It's true. I mean,
I
nothing. So Ian, I can never McCulloch or whatever, or the Forgotten Weapons guy.
Screw him. He's an ass.
He's like, okay. No matter what, like nothing is new at all. Everything's already been done before. All this 6.5 craze, it's already been done.
5.7?
5 Swiss.
Yeah. I mean, it's been.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, it depends on what you want to do with it. I mean, there's a lot of guys that win our long distance shooting competitions at the range I belong to. with 6.5 Creedmoor. I mean, it's got the stability out to long distances that they want that they can't get with other rounds. I mean, there's
The 6.5 is just slightly better ballistic coefficient than a 270 if you do all the math on it and stuff.
And that's what some people need when they're stretching it out to
Yeah, I mean, if you're
strictly
shooting 1,500 yards and stuff, maybe. But most people, a 270 will literally do what most people think they have to have a 6.5 Creedmoor for.
Hey, if I need to stretch out longer than 150 yards, I want a 338.
Yeah, there you go.
I saw a 338, or I don't know if it was Lapua. It just said 338 caliber Gatling gun. It shot. I mean, I was kind of thinking about getting
I'm
that.
sure it's Lapua.
I'm thinking. I think everyone needs one of those.
That's definitely. I think I'll stick with that little 9mm that Mac had on the Military Arms channel.
I want that. How much are those?
Those little miniguns? I don't know, $400. Are they more than that? $400? I don't remember what those things. $500.
It's got to be more than 400.
I don't know. I don't have to look it up and see what they go for.
They're like 2,000 to 3,000.
Oh, they're that. Oh, I can't remember, man. I watched a video like a year ago, so I'm off on prices today, guys. I have no idea. I've been rolling straight since 5:30 this morning. I have no idea what's going on anymore. So, all right. So we're gonna go and wrap it up. What's that?
Why'd you sleep in?
Yeah, right. It's Monday, man. It's a school day. We're gonna go and wrap this one up. So real quick, we're gonna let everybody kind of get their plugs in so we can get ready for the Guns and Geeks podcast over there on the Never Enough Ammo channel. So let's let everybody go ahead and plug their channels one last time. Give a little shout out to people that have been watching, and go ahead and wrap things up. So tonight we talked about the Mosin Nagant. Hopefully gave you a little bit of a buyer's guide. Email me at thecalibercorner@gmail.com if you have any questions. Also, we talked a little bit about some 40 Smith & Wesson, the history behind it. Is it still a viable round?
Yes.
You know, I think it's 9-1, yes to no. But anyway, Honda, real quick, why don't you give us a little closing plug here before we call it, man?
All right. Check out the channel, eHonda720. We do a weekly podcast where we go chin deep into different conspiracies called the Gay Frog Chat. Is Sunday night at 9 p.m. East Coast Standard Time. And see you there. Thanks for the invite, man.
Right on, man. Appreciate it. Okay, Foos.
How's it going, guys? Just remember, if you want to buy any firearm, make sure your buddy already has it in their shopping cart whenever you do so.
Just kidding. All right, I got to keep this PG. Thanks, Boost. Yeah, you know what? And those Makarovs were going for $400 at the gun show I went to last weekend, and I hate you even more because of it. So, anyway, let's move over to Night Strike. Night Strike, anything you want to say before we go?
Guntube.org, and don't miss the other awesome podcast that Travis does with me. Hit or Miss, Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central.
There you go. Right on, man. Excellent. Okay, Gun Snob. Get your final plugs in there, buddy. What do you want to say?
Final plugs. Go check out my channel. Go watch my stuff. That's all. Thanks for having me.
If you're joining us late, Gun Snob has got the only range test, the best range test, the ultimate range test of the Altor glue gun single shot pistol. Make sure you guys check it out. Goose is over there packing his cope.
No, it's grip stuff for my hands.
You know, you got it. When you lie about it with the camera turned off, you know you're addicted to it. So, yep.
I am about to dry fire.
Okay, Squibload. Anything you want to say here before we go? It is okay. You're being legit. All right, I gotcha. I still think you were packing some coat back there in the background. So, get Squib. Anything you want to say before we go, man?
Yeah, Foos, I can't unsee that. And everybody eat more Pop-Tarts.
There you go. If I had a nephew, it would look just like Foos. All right. Kingpin, anything to say before we go, bud?
Thanks for having me. Great conversation. I always love to listen to you guys talk about stuff that I don't understand yet. It's actually overwhelming sometimes, but it's really helpful.
Well, that's what we shoot for on this channel, man. No pun intended. Kingpin, I look forward to you getting your first Mosin, okay?
I'm on my way to the store right now.
Do it. That's right. Make sure you get in your car and pay for it before Foos does. Otherwise, you'll never get it. So, Rich White.
It's called Mosin Mart.
Mosin Mart. That's right.
Mosin Mart. Yeah. For all your Mosin Nagant needs.
All right, Rich White.
Mosin Martin won't have any Mosins.
Rich, you want to give a little shout out or say anything before we go and call it?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm not going to be having a show this weekend because I'm not going to be home. But
Okay.
But go over to my channel now. Currently up. They were talking about the pretzel Pop-Tarts earlier in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Go over there. Unloaded Media channel. There's a video. It's about 3 minutes long. I do a Travis P11 style tabletop review of the pretzel Pop-Tarts.
Right on, brother.
It's disgusting.
Senior sugar and chocolate variety. So
Wait. I have a style of review now that people talk about. All right, man. Yeah.
Reviews, man.
Yeah,
You got to get into the nutritional content. You got to show it when it cooks. You got to crack it open in front of the camera.
I think I'll use that next time I shoot a review.
The Travi style of
You're doing the
presentation.
Travis P11 style.
You use the Travis P11 method? Oh, man.
I do. I had to go to a couple seminars and pay these outrageous fees, but
that's right.
I'm now Travis P11 methods or Travi method certified.
Dude, it's crazy. There was one day I was Googling something that I was looking up, and like 2 out of the 3 top results were Travis P11, and it had nothing to do with guns. It was just some.
I've done reviews on tuna. I've done reviews on jerky. I've got one for the air compressor from Harbor Freight. I did a chainsaw review, or actually was using the damn thing. Everything, man. Everything. I've been everywhere, man. I got a B channel that features electronics and stuff, and yeah. I'm saying you never know where I'm going to show up, man. The Travi are everywhere. We're everywhere. You just can't see
too many of them.
That's right, man. All right, let's give a little shout out to people that have been watching here. What do we got going on? So we got Review is out there. Guy that comments is out there. Kingpin's in the house. Shadow Wolf in the house. Let's see. Review says, SS Pond, can you get... Where was that at? Oh, the comment just disappeared. Guy that comments, I don't know what's going on, man. Your messages keep getting hidden. So AC97 in the house. SS Pond is out there also.
The thing was, guy that I deleted guy that comments. They were for me. They're nothing wrong with them. It was funny stuff. He's good. He's good.
Oh, I got you. Was I supposed to be talking about smashing something or what?
It's something along the
I'm not saying anything was smashing at this time. I had to go back in. Yeah. Let's see. Joining in. It's all good. Let's see. Gun Snob's out there over here. E Honda's in the house. Gen Z 2A's in the house. Tim Eska's out there. Scott P79's watching. Patrick Pew Pew. New York Outcast watching this evening. Shadow Wolf in the house. Let's see. Got a lot of conversation going on. Oh, my God. What do we have here? Raw Feeding 101 had a $1.99 super chat. He said, first pair AR parts, my P.O. boxes. No, seriously, Raw Feeding 101. If you need stuff, you let us know. We're going to take care of you, all right? Let's see. Jason Stewart's out there also. Jacob S. in the house with little Midnight Range TMs going on out there. Little SS Pawn watching. Matthias is out there, too. Matthias says, I like those new Henry X rifles. Those are pretty sweet, man. You got to like the whole tactical angle they're putting on them. Those are very cool. And prices are pretty fair. Rich White's out there and over here. Otherwise, I think that's about it. Duke Liberty, Kingpin, and I think we're going to go ahead and call it Weston Probes. So if I miss anybody, I want to apologize. I saw a little Snake Doctor out there, too. So, guys, this has been Caliber Corner episode number 121. I want to thank you all for joining us. Episode 122 will happen next Monday. Don't know what we're going to do for topics, but we'll find something to talk about, and hopefully you had a good time listening this evening. Got you a little educated on Mosin Nagant, what you need to know, what you should do and shouldn't do. Otherwise, guys, head on over to Never Enough Ammo's channel, where he's going to be doing the Guns and Geeks podcast here in about 15 minutes. But otherwise, that's about it, guys. I want y'all to have fun. I want you to be safe. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. Y'all take care and have a great week, all right? See you guys.
Bye, Alicia.
Adios, Alicia. Adios.